Welcome to Draw Process. I'm Ike. I'm going to draw a page of my comic, First Sun and Sword. It's page 29 of episode 2 today, and I'll share my thoughts and techniques and process about my development, as we always do in this series of Draw Process. So here we go. Sword and Sun in the yard. The man that was trying to get to them is up above them in the room, looking out the window at them in the yard, calling to his men to come get them. And Sun puts Sword into a cart and wheels him out the front door, blasting past the men that were charging at them. The real start of this action that'll move quick and have a lot of crowd scenes, backgrounds, a lot of characters and action. The most I've ever done. Last issue was the most I'd ever done. I put men on a raft fighting, and then there was the King Croc scene. That was the most I'd done at the time. And then this time we'll one-up that for sure. And I'm finding how much I enjoy it. Whenever there's lots of characters, lots of action, even all the backgrounds, I have to let loose. I can see it in my mind more. I'm more motivated. The juices are flowing more. And I like to, I just find I'm more dynamic. I'm more creative. I'm more expressive. So I think I have a feeling that that's something we can see when my art has changed, or when the style has changed a bit. In this issue or the last one, it was at points where I was stretched by drawing things I was more motivated to draw, the action, let's say. Which brings up an interesting point about motivation. I have the man here in the thumbnails I'm working out. I figured out the first panel and the last one. The man is looking out the window that they had just jumped from, looking down at them. And the last panel, them blowing through the gates, Sword in the cart, Sun pushing. So I started with that, and then I'm trying to build, in between. And you'll see that I erased that first panel, and I start to take another crack at it, another approach. Okay, yeah, motivation. It's interesting that when I draw without motivation, maybe I get better in certain ways. I gain knowledge, information, maybe is a better word for it. But it isn't as good. The art isn't as good. I think we should draw motivated. What's interesting about that is we're so used to the idea of a creator being a factory worker or just, work for hire skill that they provide. So they should be able to draw anything. And, you hear that in comics. You should be able to draw anything. Draw what the script asks for and so on. And yet, my favorite works are ones that seem very motivated. I don't want to say inspired, but just you can tell the artist loves what they're drawing, and the mood of the story is just right for what the artist likes to express. That in some sense, what the artist is expressing through their art is a particular emotion, or maybe it's even broader than that, a consciousness. And it's best when it is, when it matches that. For example, look at Berserk, or look at Hellboy. Hellboy with this more depressive, weary, or it's kind of sorrowful tone, maybe. And I don't think that's a mistake. with books like that, where it's what the artist wanted to write or wanted to draw. They kind of got to set the mood. And a lot of times it isn't their first book where they capture the mood they should be capturing, as it seems, in hindsight or from the outside. An artist sometimes finds the right material, the right mood for what, and it might take them a while. That in some sense, finding your style as an artist, as a storyteller, is finding the right story to convey it. And then you get into that groove and you work at it, and it gets more consistent, it gets more nuanced and so on. So, I'm noticing there's certain things that I'm more motivated to draw, and there's certain moods I like more to convey. And so I work at those in this book. And the more I lean into that, the better. The more that I write stories that capture that mood and tell the stories in ways that capture it, the more I let loose on that, the better. That I shouldn't be thinking, what does the market want? What does, what makes a better story? I shouldn't exactly be worried about that. I should be thinking, what should I be drawing? What am I motivated to do? That might be wiser than even considering the story, the quality of the story. Is it written well? And when it comes to comics that are really long, like what I'm doing, something that goes on and on, it's nice when it goes on for so long that you can see the iterations of the artist's idea, of the characters, of the mood. You see it evolve and really get into its stride. And it may not happen right away. And that's it seems perfectly acceptable for that to happen in long form comics or manga. So I'm trying to move that direction. And I talk a lot on here about trying to figure out my style and how I want to be drawing, and the certain qualities of that, and why I feel that I'm moving in those directions. Usually, again, towards more expressive, more loose, more free, not encumbered by detail or accuracy or straight lines or strict, refined inking techniques. So I recognize these things I like and I want to move towards, but in some sense, this kind of solves that for me. If I just draw from, things that I'm motivated to capture, to draw, let it flow out of me and let it develop. More action, definitely more action. And that was the idea when I started the story. The very opening scene was just an action scene. And I think it's fine. I think I have a decent mix of talking heads, drama, storytelling, of the characters, character development. I have enough of a mix of that with action. So trying to draw from a motivated place. You'll see here on the screen that I'm moving on to the more finished pencils. It's a darker pencil. It's the initial pencils are the thumbnail, basically, and they're very hard to see on this video. But there's just some basic shapes laid down, position of things, and then I flesh it out more. And it's really pretty messy at this point. Just trying to get just enough information down that I'm comfortable inking it, and even making inking decisions such as where to place shadows during the inking phase. I'm moving that direction too. Let's see. I've been busier than ever. Still, I keep saying it, but it's even more so true every time. Busier than ever with counseling, with that job, and family stuff. And it's not simply clocking in. My job is there's a lot of responsibility in it. I'm studying. I'm always trying to learn and improve. And I want to do a good job. I care about my clients. I care about what I do. And it becomes a big part of my life. And lately it feels really big because I'm seeing more clients than I ever used to. And it's always interesting when my life gets busier like that, and comics start to feel like a hobby, start to feel like an intrusion. You'll notice here in the video that I accidentally didn't hit record when I drew a few figures in this panel. Sorry about that, but you still get to see most of the process here. When comics feels like an intrusion, especially like, I don't know, maybe it's getting older too, that I feel like I should be responsible with my finances and my time. And it's like, should I be selfish drawing comics? Is it selfish to be doing it? And one of the ways I would combat that in the past is say, well, there's high likelihood of success. If I just push harder, if I just work harder, maybe I'll get such success that it won't seem like an intrusion. It would be obviously a responsible act to continue creating, because it would pay the bills. It would obviously be worth doing. To my family, for example, or society. And so, that's always a struggle. I think that is just, I think it's a lot bigger than the economy or getting older and so on. I think it is what the philosopher Nietzsche called the spirit of gravity, the shoulds of society, this heavy weight that says anything worth doing has already been done, and you should just obey, just fall in line. Nothing worth doing or creating, it's all been done before, been done better. And there's people that believe that. They look at manga comic books and they think the best work's already been done. It doesn't get any better than that. And I always say, no, the best is yet to come. But it's hard to believe that sometimes. There's a weight to that way of thinking that seems forced on us or pressures us. That what's the point? I can look at my work and I can see that there's people that are better. There's more refined, more quality work, better stories. There's so many things. There's Conan the Barbarian. I mean, there's so many things out there already. What's the point of me making another attempt at it? Why should anyone ever get out of bed ever again? Except to pay the bills or enjoy themselves. Just simply do it for the pleasure of it. Don't try to accomplish anything with it. Just enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, you're doing it wrong. Even that is a depressing, kind of insidious way of thinking that holds us back. Because I don't want to give into that. I believe that there are things worth doing that haven't been done yet. That my attempt is an attempt. That what's good, nobody knows. It's yet to be seen. And what's good is what's going to be next, what's being created, what's happening. It's not all set in stone. Things aren't static. While we're alive, let's be alive and make attempts. And so that defines it pretty well, the struggle to believe, to hold on to hope, to not a false hope, not a narcissistic one where like I can achieve greatness or do something so profound that hasn't been seen. It's a little bit more fatalistic. It may not be very great. Like, I don't know. I don't get to choose that, but I get to make the attempt, and not just because it's fun. Because again, that's something I fight against too. And this is not just to have fun, that it's serious. It is a serious attempt at something, at telling a story in a new way, communicating something that hasn't been communicated yet. And yeah, we're all limited, and there's plenty of influences or mimicking earlier work, or really bungled attempts, really flawed attempts in what I do and what we all do. But we can't think it's not worth doing. I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious now with AI, the idea that, and it's not even there yet, but it gets better every day. This idea that really it'll be easier than ever to say there's no point in doing anything anymore. That if you want something new done, just get the robot to do it. Just get the AI to do it. There's no point in doing anything. Just drink and be merry. But I think a lot of people know that doesn't feel right. Like, obviously, no, it is still worth it. And not just for fun, but for meaning, for purpose, to try to achieve and accomplish something. Something human. So, yeah, when I struggle to incorporate comics into my life or justify it, then I've got to struggle with that, and I've got to tell myself my story, remind myself why I do this, how I give into this fate to let it be what it's going to be. We'll see what comes of it. Yeah, and that's what I find the most joy in of what I do, is when I look at these new pages versus old ones, and I see something happening. I see change. I see movement towards something new that I haven't seen before. I get to see what it can become, and and what I can do. Yeah, staying the course for now. And for now, that's one page a week. You see how I do it here, and then I color it. I'm pretty quick at that these days. And lettering super quick. The videos don't take too long to piece together, but that's what I'm doing. Sketching, working on anatomy when I can, but I've had to lighten up a bit on that. I had the goal of doing pieces of anatomy every day, a little bit of it, but I just cannot keep up with it. This is what I'll get to do today, is record this video and maybe draw a bit on the page for next week. Yeah, but it's fun. Let's see. another aspect of this, how to deal with looking at my work. How does one deal with looking at their work and seeing that there's better work out there? This relates to what I was just saying, but there's probably a little more to it. When you look at your work and you realize it could be better, it's not so great. And it may never be so great. I mean, you can judge when you have more history. It's different when it's your first comic ever. You have no idea what you're capable of yet. 10 years in, as I'm approaching here, it's more clear what you're made of, you could say. Even in that, there is an unnecessary, encumbering, mindset. It's kind of like if you own a business and you're striving and you're hungry and you're working for it, and then you reach a certain level of comfort, you're making enough money, it works out, and you just get complacent. You just do what you're doing, and you can just do that till you're retired. Nothing wrong with that. But we start to really limit our horizons. We start to really just get complacent and think, well, this is all there is. And I think that happens with artists. They hit a point where they're like, yeah, I've even said these kind of words. I know what I'm doing now. I just got to keep doing it. And I still believe that in the context I said it. But, we get complacent. We get comfortable with how we do things. And we stop looking for growth. We stop imagining, dreaming of what we could give birth to. We stop giving birth. We just unwind our entrails as they've already been developed. And I do that sometimes. Sometimes I don't feel like I have much to give. I don't know. I'm not in the best mindset. I'm weighed down by that spirit of gravity thing, and I think I might as well just do what I'm doing. But even after 10 years, it is possible for me to have the growth mindset, have the creative mindset, to believe, to hope, to be hungry, to stretch myself for something beyond what I have been able to do. And that only comes after facing my flaws. It comes after struggling with the depression of the hopelessness of like, I'm not that good, I'm not getting anywhere. So sometimes that's a helpful thing to process, to feel. If we push away depression every time it comes, if we push away criticism, self-criticism, our sense that maybe, is this worthwhile? I'm not loving my work. It's limited in what I'm capable of. If we push those feelings away and we just tell ourselves that we're great, we're just putting our defenses up in that way, then we're not open to growth. And if we surround ourselves with people, that just support us, that just tell us we're great, that might also make you complacent. And I'm going through a growth phase right now. And I could go harder. I just gotta have a more playful spirit. And again, to me, it's not a hard striving. It is not to be a really hungry wolf that's just vicious and just starving and furious and intense. It's not. It can be done in a playful manner. It's best done in a playful manner. So yeah, because I think some people, they take it a different way. They take what I would say as you got to stay hungry, you got to keep striving, you got to keep working hard, and it's not exactly that. It can be done playfully. It can be a joyful thing to do. to move towards the goal. That's literally like dopamine. That's literally like what pleasure is. The feeling of moving towards a goal. So people that are just too wound up, too aggressive about it, it's I think they're missing out. It's not the best way to move forward. But it's not that there's none of that, because I get hungry too. And sometimes I notice people who are more hungry than me to develop, to grow, to build their skills. And it can make me, I'm envious. I respect that. I'm like, I should work harder. Yeah, I appreciate what they bring to the community. To me, it can inspire me, encourage me. So there's a lot of good in it too. An aspect of this is to not be trying to control the outcome. You can't be too attached, needing a certain outcome, whether that be financial success or praise, achievement in skill. I don't know. A lot of that is focused on other people, how they're going to react to what you're doing. Maybe that works for some people. I don't know, but it's not how I operate. It's not how I see it. To maximize my path I'm on is to let go of that and be more playful about it. I can be serious. I can work hard at it. I can take pleasure in my work. It's still work. I can strive, But what I'm striving toward is in a sort of inner goal, inner compass, where I'm trying to go that I don't know where to go yet. That's an important piece of it. If I'm just reaching for the goal of some benchmark, that someone else set to try to achieve someone else's level, quality, style, then that just feels like I'm going to be let down, disappointed, on a roller coaster. It just seems kind of empty in the long run. It's just continuing towards that sense of where I'm going, and that's where the pleasure comes in, because I'm trying to get somewhere that I can't describe. You're going to discover. You're an explorer, and you're discovering a new land. That's living. That's really living. You don't know what the next moment's going to bring. That just sounds more motivating. Back to our initial topic. More exciting, more fulfilling, a more solid foundation for your development, for your career. And I think people will appreciate it. In the long run, people are going to appreciate an individual's expression, as I do. I appreciate expressions of individuals that have tried to go down that path that I'm describing. And so hopefully I'm one of them for people. And that is it, the finished page. I like how the colors are coming together. The way I'm applying the light and shadows is helping, I believe. It's really easy. It's just a one layer lighting pass and shadow pass. Pretty limited palette, but pretty happy with how this page turned out. And that's it for this week. I'll see you next time.